Hey everyone, this is Jason Howell, and I figured I'd give a little bit of commentary on the commentary Chris Chan did for his number 17 issue. I figured I'd give a little bit of insight into the history of sort of how Chris Chan came to be, and just how everything on Encyclopedia Dramatica sort of came together. So sit back, enjoy, and I'll try to explain a few things. Basically, with Chris Chan, the first I heard about him was on 4chan around, what was it, 2000? It was the end of 2007. Basically, we found his comic webpage, and there was a lot of topics about on like VA, CO, and all that, comic book board, video games, and all that. Basically, it was a hot topic at the time because, when we first found him, it was sort of this insane, rambling sort of deal. We didn't really know what it was about because he linked his MySpace to it, and it had some stuff on it, but it wasn't too clear at this point how deep, deeply troubled this guy was. So we started to get new info, after seeing, his blogs. Stuff like how he got arrested, stuff about like a trial or something. I don't remember if he wrote anything about Mary Lee Walsh, but I think he did, but it's been so long I barely remember. Then shortly after that, I created the Encyclopedia Dramatica page. If you don't know what Encyclopedia Dramatica is, it's sort of a website that sort of talks about like the most hated people on the internet. It doesn't. Not everyone on the site is the most hated, but a lot of people on there. You'll see a lot of people from DeviantArt, Gaia, all this other horrible crap, all the furry people, scary people. But basically, I sort of made the page and did the basic stuff to it. I put like all the info we found out so far, which wasn't much. It was like a few pictures. I think we found the Nintendo Power page of him writing a letter about a game called Sprung and how it helped him in his relationships or whatever, which is an obvious lie. But what else? And then we made all this fan art of him, sort of all the stuff that came out so far, and we sent it to him. First time we ever got anything from him was when he sort of responded and said, "Oh, stop drawing my creations with penises," or something like that.
When was that taken? Did someone sneak through
that was sort of the point where people we figured out how to get to him, but at this point he wasn't making YouTube videos. So that was sort of the beginning in a way. I forget which date it was. It was sometime in 2007, late 2007. I think October or November.
To my most distressed distaste is the apex of the page.
You could probably find on the 4chan archive somewhere all the old topics of him, just sort of slowly discovering everything he did over time. I think like the biggest thing that stuck out in my mind was this one blog we found of this one employee at the mall he sort of stalked at. What he basically did was he brought his Nintendo, his Game Boy Advance there, and he just sort of paced around in front, just pacing back and forth, watching like Pokemon or something on it. And this woman was working at a shop at the time, and eventually Chris came in and started to flirt with her. He did it really, really horribly. The girl was mortified. She had to deal with other creepy people before, and Chris was one of them. And what Chris did, thing is, Chris was wearing the medallion too, and she described that perfectly. What Chris did was he took out this business card with a picture of Sonic Chew on it and gave it to her. and tried to get her number, and she was sort of resistant. It was pretty fucking hilarious at the time. That was like one of the first things we found. And then slowly we sort of dug up who Mary Lee Walsh was. And we found out that he went. She was sort of the dean at this one college. I think he went to it at one point, but basically what he did was he brought this sign asking for girlfriend-free boyfriend-free girlfriend, and she came and took down the sign, and then we found out from emails later that he had meetings with her and all that about the entire thing, about the whole ordeal, about him being banned and all this other stuff. That I think I emailed Mary Lee Walsh about all like the YouTube videos he made of her. Shit. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? He I actually what he basically did was he made some YouTube videos of her in Soul Calibur 3 and sort of beat her up a little bit. That was sort of crazy. He was, and he also made a comic about her too. Was that Mary Lee Walsh? She made a YouTube video. I think it was her. I think it was someone else too. He made like several videos of just people he hated in real life.
If I've told you once,
and beat him up in Soul Calibur. He was demented back then. But I actually emailed Mary Lee Walsh and told her about like the comic and what he did. I never got a response back. So I guess at that point she pretty much knew that he was sort of fucking crazy, but I guess she just sort of ignored it. What else back then?
And I can't help but appreciate the stealth teachings of my father.
Then there was the incident where we found out about him trying to find a girlfriend at Target. Apparently, based on what we know now, it was apparently a new Target, and the managers came out and talked to him and asked him to leave, and he refused, and they called the cops. And he called them jerk-offs or something like that. Jerk-offs, or I don't know. But apparently he tried to run, and then the cops chased after him and nailed him to the floor. He said they hog-tied him, but you know how cops are, especially with a crazy like Chris. And I'm sure, you know, him and his pedo glasses and, you know, his medallion. I'm sure he looked pretty fucking scary back then, too. I think that's the thing he went to court about, and I think they eventually dismissed that because probably because of his autism. His father probably got him off. But yeah, that's basically what we found out back then. Sort of this small details of him just being him.
Yeah, he dashed him right behind him.
But afterwards, he sort of got a little more aggressive. He started to make YouTube videos a little more. Around that time, it died down a little bit, but he started saying crap. He found out about the Encyclopedia Dramatica webpage, and he went ballistic. He made some YouTube videos about it, and then
my lady friend and I have a 2
where I came in was he actually sent me a message on Encyclopedia Dramatica asking me why I did that, and I sent him an email back, which is the one he read on YouTube, and that was like the first time he, addressed one of the quote-unquote trolls on the internet, and that was sort of the beginning of a lot of things for him.
Gee. Thanks.